This is obvious, a toxic political environment.
Oh, for sure.
Would you lay the blame for this with President Trump?
I laid the blame with Adam and Eve. How's that? But you know what? Certainly, this began, this real toxic, angry, I would say, political environment that we live in began way before Trump.
It did. That's right.
But I would say Trump stands for something in a way that nobody has stood for something in a long time. I wouldn't wear a MAGA hat in certain parts of this country. New York City would be one of those at certain times, right? And it says, this is what I stand for. And then it also says, this is what I stand for, plus all the things that you all think it stands for. So there's a tremendous amount of vitriol. And I think we all have to say, what do I really care about in life? Am I going to be fighting somebody over their political views? You know, I've spent a lot of time counseling people on deathbed, on their deathbed. Right. I have never once heard someone say, you know what, I really hope Donald Trump wins this election, or Hillary Clinton, or Joe Biden. No, they talk about their relationship with God and relationship with other people. Yeah. What do you care about? Yeah. Are you willing to fight for something as silly as an election, even though elections are certainly important?
I want you to take a look at this. It's a brawl. I'm going to show the viewers a brawl, and it broke out at a Bernie Sanders event. Fighting each other there. Is the violence happening on the other side as well, among Democrats?
Hey, we're all capable of it if we allow ourselves to go down that road of being willing to degrade and actually hurt somebody because of their views. Do we really care that much about it? Well, why wouldn't we be talking about it on our deathbed? We won't. None of us will. And I think it's a question of there's always going to be a small percentage of people that are not going to listen to anything I have to say or what you have to say. Let them be. But let's overwhelm them with common sense, which doesn't mean, oh, whatever you believe is totally good. It's just as good as what I believe. No, but it's being rational and human in our discussions.
You brought up a very good point, which I had not thought of before. You were a former Catholic priest.
Yeah.
You have given the last rites, I presume, to many people on their deathbed.
Yep.
And you're right. How many people bring up politics or their hates, their petty hates, on their deathbed? Yeah. You don't.
No, and it's not to say those things aren't important. It's not to say that money isn't important, that business isn't important.
Don't ever say that on this program.
It's very important. All of this is very important because it's part of human life. But it's to help us flourish as human beings. Nobody takes that money. Nobody takes that anger, the political differences, to the grave or to heaven. Nobody. And I think it's just a question of those who are willing to listen. We have to overwhelm the internet, overwhelm social media, overwhelm media with common sense goodness.
All right. Do you have
even in our disagreement?
You did God's work on the deathbed.
Well,
you did that. Don't you miss doing such valuable work? Don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, here you are chatting with Stuart Varney on a program about money and politics. That's nowhere near as important as what you used to do.
Fair enough, but I think everybody, it's true. It's a great point. But in the end, I can't solve poverty in Africa right now. And that would be more important than perhaps anything you could think of. We can't all do everything. We have to do what, by following, I believe, that voice of conscience and God's call in our life. This is very me. But in other words, be who you were called to be. And then we let everything else in the hands of our Creator.
You know, you really are a good man.
Thank you, Stuart.
Incredible,
you are a good friend.
Jonathan Morris, everyone, a good man, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.